Welcome to the city of Sydney, and from within its boundaries, Harold Park Paceway, who proudly present the 1988 Inter-Dominion Championship. Tonight, the final.
Welcome to Harold Park in Sydney for the grand final of the $400,000 Foster's Inter-Dominion Championship. Well, perfect conditions here in Sydney again this evening for what should be one of the closest finals in the history of the event. Well, our commentator again this evening is David Morrow. We're only 15 minutes away from the event, and David, really any number of chances could take out the grand final this evening.
Certainly, Peter. In fact, this particular race is probably the most open Inter-Dominion Grand Final we've seen for many years, and one of the major reasons for it was the draw on Tuesday. And when we go through and have a look at the draw, Tiff's Mystery in 1 a little bit slow out. Number 2, Our Maestro, expected to lead early and certainly will be have a lot of pressure applied in the early stages. 3, Corral to Gift. We expect Darren Binskin to take hold here. Number 4 is Palomar. He'll hunt up Michael Ilsley on the Western Australian. Number 5, Robert John. I think Vic Frost will also try and charge up on the outside, and the interesting runner off the front mark is number 6, Bag Limit. He's the equal favourite, and Vin Knight has really no option but to try and get to the lead. Now off the second line, Luxury Liner, not well drawn in 7, will need a lot of luck to get out and win from there. Perfectly drawn, number 8, Rufus Youngblood, will come out on the back of Our Maestro and should be well positioned throughout the race. Number 9, JB's Fella, another who'll need a little bit of luck there from that draw, because Corral to Gift will probably come back in his lap just a fraction. And number 10, of course, Village Kid. It'll be interesting to see when Chris Lewis goes, but I expect when they go into the back straight on the first time, that's the second time around because they start in the back straight, I think that's when Lewis will make his move. Well, really, it's because of that draw that the market has become so open. Earlier tonight, Bag Limit and Village Kid were equal favourites at 5-2. I wonder what's happening now. Here's Peter Longman.
Well, thanks, David. We can tell you that Village Kid has taken over favouritism down here in the ring, but only slightly. Village Kid at 5-2 and Bag Limit at 11-4. Look at the rest of the field. Tiff's Mysteries at 20s. Our Maestro, the third line of betting at 6s. Corral to Gift and Palomar both at 10s. Robert John at 20s. At 8s, Luxury Liner. And 14s, Rufus Youngblood and JB's Fella, with the 2 favourites, Village Kid and Bag Limit.
Well, many of the punters, like Bag Limit, are wondering whether 1988 is going to be the year that Bag Limit and Vin Knight break through. Baggy, like driver Vin Knight, has been close before. 2 heat wins in each of the last 3 championships, but alas, still no grand final. And it was only after his record-breaking win in last week's 11th heat that Bag Limit emerged as the favourite over his arch-rival, Village Kid. Into the straight, Bag Limit on the inside, Village Kid the outside, Bag Limit, Village Kid drifting to the centre of the track, and I think Bag Limit's going to get home, and Baggy wins heat 11. Another heat victory for Vin Knight, but then the most difficult decision of all, which horse to drive, Our Maestro or Bag Limit?
And not many 4-year-olds have won the Inter-Dominion, and that's one of the main reasons. I just think that it's going to become a staying sort of a race, and Baggy's a great stayer.
Vin believes that Bag Limit has never been fitter and is as good as when he looked to Morrow to take out last year's title in Christchurch. But what about that disastrous barrier 6?
Well, I've got to go forward. There's no doubt about that. You know, you can't go back to last. Pure Steel tried it 1 year and got beaten, looked a certainty in the Inter-Dominion. So I've got to go forward, but you know, you just got to wait until they go away from that gate and you know, sort of sum everything up.
Bag Limit's main danger is obviously Village Kid. The Western Australian champion won in Brisbane 2 years ago and has won 2 miracle miles on this very track. He won the opening heat a fortnight ago, ran second to JB's Fella on the second night, and last Friday wasn't far away in Bag Limit's record-breaking performance. So, to what extent has Village Kid improved in the last week?
Oh, he's gone great, David. He's 7 days he's done, or 6 days today, he's done really good. He's been down here by the water every day, and he's thrived since then, and he'll run the race of his life.
Well, what's the water do for him?
Well, he's used to it at home, you know. He likes just standing around and going for a swim, and cools his legs down and just makes it good for his breathing and one thing and another, and that's all a part of his training.
And what about barrier 10? Has driver Chris Lewis any option but to sit and wait?
Chris is a great driver. He's driven 2 Inter winners and hopes to be the first man to win 3 of them. He's driven this horse to 59 wins, including every big race just about in Australia, so we'll just leave it in. I'll get the horse fit enough and Chris will do the rest, I think.
And there we are, this massive crowd here at Harold Park, and it really is a huge crowd to see what should be a great race, and two magnificent campaigners leading them out. One of the greatest ever Inter-Dominion campaigners of all time there on the left, but never actually won the Inter-Dominion Paleface Adios. And the little Bathurst Bulldog on the right, Hondo Grattan, who won the Inter-Dominion Championship here in Sydney in '73 and at Gloucester Park in Perth, of course, the following year in 1974. Well, here's the first of the 1988 Foster's Inter-Dominion Championship decider runners coming onto the field. Number 1, Tiff's Mystery, trained in Sydney here by David Aitken out at Bankstown. And he's going to drive the horse. Has been very consistent throughout the heats, with a third on the opening night, a third again on the second night, and then last week he also finished third in that a very good performance behind Bag Limit and Village Kid. What a great chance it is for David Aitken. And number 2, and what a great night it is for this man as well as this horse, Our Maestro. He's trained in Victoria by Bob Knight, and tonight he's being driven by John Binskin, and he's going to be carrying the second set of night colours there, the yellow with the red Maltese cross, red sleeves and a white cap. But the great thing about John Binskin tonight is that he's never driven an Inter-Dominion champion. He's been the champion driver here at Harold Park before, but his father, Jack Binskin's here tonight, and it's Jack's 81st birthday, one of the all-time greats of harness racing. Number 3, and another young man who's probably got a slight tear in his eye, because Jack Binskin's this young man's grandfather. Yes, this is Darren Binskin and the Tasmanian-owned Corral-to Gift. And only a few weeks ago, not many gave Corral-to Gift a chance of making his way through to the final. After a great performance in 1986, he seemed to lose form last year, but look at that improvement in each round of the heats. 5th, and then a 3rd, and then a 1st. Next one out is Palomar, one of the Western Australians, and there to be driven by Michael Ilsley. He's trained by Colin Joss there in Western Australia, those distinctive colours, red and white checks, and Michael, no doubt, will be hunting up early to try and get a position. And number 5, in fact, there's a horse going onto the track, which is obviously going to be warming up for a later race. I don't really know what the horse is actually doing here at all. You'd think they'd only allow horses in the Inter-Dominion on the track, wouldn't you? Anyway, there's number 5, Robert John. Vic Frost, the driver and the trainer. Owned in South Australia, this horse. White with the black stars and the white cap. And again, very consistent through the heats, especially on the second and third nights when he did it very tough to finish runner-up in each of those heats.
From South Australia is number 5, Robert John, trained and driven by...
And there's Vic going through, and the ground level camera coming back to the enclosure as we're about to see one of the real favourites for this year's Inter-Dominion emerge. The famous night colours, yellow, red Maltese cross and yellow sleeve and Bag Limit. And if he's successful tonight, he'll join the Millionaires Club. And he's really has been in great form here in Sydney. He won the Winfield Cup in Adelaide, the Winfield Cup, of course, in Melbourne. He came up here, he finished second in the first of the Foster's Inter-Dominion heats and then won on the second and third nights. Number 7, Luxury Liner, the New Zealander. He was so brilliant, of course, on the opening night. Trained by Ron and Barry Purdon. Barry with the horse, which was stabled at Berry on the south coast. Magnificent complex down there, Ray and Faye Wisby's place. And Tony Herlihy, one of the really top-line drivers from New Zealand in the gig. Now, number 8, a very much underrated pacer as far as I'm concerned, Rufus Youngblood, the horse who won 4 derbies in 1987, trained and driven by Dick Lee in Victoria. He was knocked rotten on the first night of heats, but atoned for that with a brilliant performance on the second night, and then really wasn't disappointing in running second last week. You notice there, Rufus Youngblood, fairly distinctive colours, almost all white, that triangle and the yellow cap. The next one out is another one of the Western Australians who has a huge chance. Purple with the pink checks, really, JB's fella, although on the screen they'll come up really as pink and white checks with the purple cap. Greg Harper is the trainer driver, and he was another horse who really did impress everyone on the first and second nights, and I don't think he really lost too many detractors, or lost too many fans, I should say, last week. But here's the horse who the punters have really put their faith in tonight. He's won 2 Miracle Miles here, as I said earlier, He really is a very popular horse, not only in New South Wales, but all round Australia, Village Kid. Look at that, 85 starts, 63 wins, 19 placings, a win and 2 seconds in this year's Inter-Dominion Series. He was undefeated, though, in the series up in Brisbane in 1986. He's no stranger to big-time racing, and nor is Chris Lewis any stranger to big-time racing, having won the Inter-Dominion in 76 and, of course, in 86. Well, we've dwelt just a little bit earlier on with the Bag Limit and Village Kid, the two horses that the punters have put their faith in, and after dwelling just a fraction on those two favourites, what about some of the other chances? Our Maestro has probably been the best-backed horse to win the grand final outside the two favourites. He came to Sydney after winning 14 races in succession, and following an encouraging fourth in the opening heat, he went down to Rufus Youngblood on the second night, before displaying his immense talent last Friday in winning Heat 9. And Our Maestro is going to be really the first horse into the final. Our Maestro. One of the elder statesmen of the industry, John Binskin, will drive Our Maestro, and regular driver Bin Knight won't be offering any driving instructions to a man who's achieved just about everything harness racing can offer, except an Inter-Dominion.
You can't tell a man like J. Binskin how to drive. He'll go out and do his best and hopefully run second to me.
The only New Zealander to face the starter tonight is Luxury Liner. The Kiwi is badly drawn in Gate 7, but if the pace is on from the start, don't write him off. He was devastating in winning on the opening night of heats. Into the clear, and so too Prince Purdon. Halfway down the straight though, and Luxury Liner's going to come away and win this fourth heat pretty comfortably. Luxury Liner being well held together, and Luxury Liner's going to win it well. Spare road. Trainer Barry Purdon knows that luck will play an important role, but is optimistic that Luxury Liner can go very close if the lady is hovering over New Zealand.
We're relying on the horse in front of us virtually. That's what it amounts to. If he can get out of the gate quick, we're right on his back, and as I say, hopefully it's a true run race and he can hop off the fence somewhere during the race.
JB's Fella is another Western Australian with a huge chance. He was brilliant in winning heats on each of the first two nights, and despite beating Village Kid on the second night, trainer driver Greg Harper believes that the win over Bag Limit a fortnight ago was much more impressive. Thornrate crawling all over them but can't get out, and here's JB's Fella right down the outside. He'll beat them all. JB's Fella race to the lead in the shadows of the post, and JB's Fella wins heat 3. Well, what about the 2700? If the mile's his best distance, is the 2700 his worst?
It's not a good trip for him, no. But he's got to be put away. You know, we'll just put him away and hope that the race works out for us.
In other words, a sprint home.
Well, that's all we're going to have left, and probably, you know, he was disappointing in the Winfield Cup when he got a nice cover there. But hopefully he can get a nice trip and he'll be fit enough to run on at the end.
The Tasmanian-owned and New South Wales-trained Corralta Gift has proved to be the surprise of the series. After making the final and finishing fourth in 1986, the Darren Binskin-trained pacer just never seemed to be right. Until last Friday night, that is. Up in Brisbane in 1986, he's starting to paddle down the outside. Rufus Youngblood and speed partner, but Darren Binskin and Corralta Gift, what a win! Corralta Gift wins it.
His run was excellent under the conditions. He's not noted for his long distance racing, but he rated 2 minutes or just over 2 minutes for the mile and a half, which is as good a run as you'd expect from them class of horses. He's improving each heat. He was fifth in the first heat and then third in the next heat, and then he's come out and won impressively. I think he's getting a lot stronger this time, and you know, I think he'll run a real good race.
So there we are, the trumpeter in the background, and announcing that we're about to hear the starter get into the mobile van and blow the whistle. And there's Village Kid, the favourite on the New South Wales TAB. He's returning $1.30 for the 50 cents on the win tote and 85 cents for the place. And a Bag Limit, the other one, of course, well in the market, has blown out the gate really on the TAB. $2.65 for the win and $1.25 for the place, so huge value is Bag Limit. But Village Kid, he's a very popular horse. And what happens is that they'll line up in the main straight. They'll start to form up in the main straight, and then the starter will release them when they turn round into the back straight. And there's Bag Limit. So Bag Limit and Village Kid, and in the background there, Rufus Youngblood. But I'm wondering what the latest is down in the bookmakers ring. Let's go down, and here's Peter Longman.
Well, thanks, David. There's been absolute pandemonium down here in the betting ring. We can tell you Village Kid will go to the post as favourite at around 2-1. Bag limit at the moment at 7-2. Quickly to the other horses. Tiff's Mystery at 25s. Plenty of support for Our Maestro at 8s. A 12's Crowder Gift, 14 Palomar, 33 Rubber John. And then we go down to Luxury Liner at 8s, the New Zealander. Good support for that as well. 16s, Rufus Youngblood and JB's Fella. As I said, the favourite, Village Kid. A short while ago, I spoke to one of the leading bookmakers in the ring here at Harold Park. With me is the largest holding bookmaker here at Harold Park, Tony Gorman. Tony, what sort of money will you be holding on tonight's grand final?
Peter, the betting here has been just sensational. At this stage, I look like holding 140, 150,000 on the grand final.
What horses have attracted the most attention this evening?
The punters are really rallying for the night stable. They've backed Bag Limit and Our Maestro. They're the two best backed horses at the moment by far.
What about Village Kid?
Only moderate support at this time, Peter.
Well, obviously the money's come for Village Kid very late. Peter spoke to Tony. He was very gracious to give us that interview in the middle of the betting, and since then there's been a welter of money for Village Kid, and that really has seen him shorten right up to be the outright favourite in the ring down there at 2-1. Quite surprising, really, considering that early in the week and also as late as yesterday, most of the critics and most of the better-known journalists here in Sydney were quite adamant that Bag Limit would start favourite, and most of them, in fact, actually tipped Bag Limit to beat Village Kid. But let's go back down to the ring. It's almost deserted down there because everyone's gone chasing for their vantage points. Peter Longman.
So the stage is set for what should be a fabulous Inter-Dominion Grand Final. Let's go now to our commentator, David Morrow.
Around behind the start is something that we've become used to seeing in the Shaky Isles.
And here's the horses starting to line up behind the mobile gate. And the horses there, a couple of them receiving last-minute gear adjustments.
Here's Corral the Gift with the clerk of the course coming down the home straight to arrive. And once J.E. Binskin climbs back aboard. Our Maestro.
Palomar moving around there. You notice Luxury Liner's driver, Tony Herlihy, walking around with the horse. This has been the custom not only with Tony Herlihy, but also with a couple of the other New Zealanders throughout the series. And it's almost obviously as if they can think that they can take a little bit of weight or pressure off the horse while they're preparing for the start. And they're in that yellow cap moving through as well as Rufus Youngblood. Shouldn't be too long. Vin Knight it is, who's having a few last-minute adjustments down there with Bag Limit. He's not quite right yet. He's moved up to have yet another look at the horse. Well, of course, Village Kid has been all the rage in the ring tonight, but earlier in the week, many people thought that he wasn't really a great chance, and I'm just wondering whether Bill Horn was disappointed with Village Kid's performances in being only the runner-up in the second and third series of heats.
Oh, no, we like to win, naturally, but the horses that beat him both just had that little bit of a luck in the draw. When we off the front, JB Fellow, who's a very good horse, drew on the inside of him. We had to either bust our guts or just try and outsprint him, or we tried to outsprint him, and he was just too good, and they come home, I think, in very, very fast time. So no one could be disappointed there. Then the next time when we drew 7 and Baggy drew 8, well, that gave Baggy the first jump at the lead, and we had to race on the outside, and they broke the track record, so I don't think he'll be disappointed.
No, well, Village Kid drifted out a bit again in that race against Bag Limit. Was there a reason for that at all?
Yeah, well, I don't know. He just seems to do that at Harold Park. He did it in the Miracle Mile too, and, you know, and that sort of thing, and I don't think he'll ever be getting near the rails this time, so it won't matter.
Bill Horn, the amiable butcher from Fremantle, and my word, he's done a grand job yet again with Village Kid, and also with his gracious presence here in Sydney. He never seems to be able to do too much for you. He's forever trying to help you. And of course, when you've got a horse that's won more than $1.5 million in prize money, you can see why also all of the crowd think that this horse is just so affectionate. He's a good horse. Now the horses are still circling around here. Now you can hear the starter actually starting to prepare for the start, asking the horses on the front line to move up in 1 to 6, and the horses off the second line from 7 to 10. There's Corral-To-Gift moving up with the help of the clerk of the course. Also moving forward there in the Vin Knight colours with the red sleeves is Our Maestro, and Vin Knight himself actually going to the outside with Bag Limit.
Thanks, drivers, on the gate.
So the driver's starting to move up behind the mobile gate, along with the horses, of course, for the start of the 1988 Foster's Bicentennial Inter-Dominion Pacing Championship Grand Final. Now there's one in a gallop. Corral-To-Gift's down in a gallop. Now because JB's fellas had to go on the outside of him, we'll have to wait to see whether they actually declare it a full start. Now Corral-To-Gift's down and pacing again. Now we'll wait to see what happens with the start. Now he's moved up to the gate again, so he had to slow it down a bit for Corral-To-Gift to join in, but I think they're going to go. The blue light's on and away they go in the Inter-Dominion Grand Final, and getting away well was Our Maestro. Palomar with the red shadow roll also kicking up early along with Robert John, and out wide Bag Limit. Vin Knight caught 3 and 4 wide. He's in no man's land at the moment, and as they approach the turn the first time, it's Our Maestro on top to Palomar. 3 wide there is Robert John, followed by Tiff's Mystery and Corral-To-Gift in the 1-1. 3 wide on the back there of Robert John is Bag Limit, and he even thought about going 4 wide for a second. Back on the inside, 4th last is Luxury Liner. Behind those, Rufus Youngblood is 3rd last. 2nd last now, JB's Fella, and Village Kid drops out last as they go past the winning post the first time. Just under 3 laps to go now, and it's Our Maestro settling down in front to Robert John. Up on the fence behind those then is Tiff's Mystery, and Bag Limit, who's been 3 wide since the outside, is still posted up there, and Knight will have to do something shortly. In the 1-1 now, Palomar, followed on the rails next then by Luxury Liner. Corral-To-Gift is back there, 4th last on the outside. Behind those, 3rd last is Rufus Youngblood. 2nd last then is JB's Fella, and last of all still is Village Kid. Well, let's see what's happened up front now. It's Our Maestro in front. He's a length in front now of Bag Limit, who's finally got across, but my word, he's had a tough. On the inside, running 3rd is Tiff's Mystery, and Robert John now lobs into the 1-1 from Luxury Liner. On the outside, behind those, Palomar from Corral-To-Gift. 3rd last is Rufus Youngblood. 2nd last now, JB's Fella, and last of all, Village Kid. And as the pace starts to slacken a little bit in front, inside a mile to travel, 2 laps to go when they reach the winning post this time. Don't be surprised to see Village Kid take off this time as they go to the back. On top, it's Our Maestro. Bag Limit running 2nd, and 3rd on the fence, Tiff's Mystery. Robert John, the 1-1. Back on the fence, running 5th now, Luxury Liner in the grey colours. In the red and white colours on the outside, 6th Palomar, followed then by Corral-To-Gift. 3rd last now is Rufus Youngblood. 2nd last is JB's Fella, and still Village Kid biding his time back there last of all as they travel to the back, and they've gone through the first 400 metres of the last mile in 31.4 seconds, so they're not making any records up front. It's Our Maestro leading out the Bag Limit, and Village Kid starting to take off from the rear of the field now, and Vin Knight looked around saying, when's he going to come? Is he coming yet? Palomar decides to hook out, and Michael Ilsley's gone up 3 wide, and also going 3 wide with him is Corral-To-Gift, which means Village Kid is momentarily posted 4 wide, and behind that scramble of horses is JB's Fella, and momentarily Rufus Youngblood is last of all as they come down past the half mile with just over a lap to go. Our Maestro on top. In 2nd place is Bag Limit. On the outside is Palomar. Tiff's Mystery behind them with nowhere to go. Between horses is Robert John from Corral-To-Gift. Off the track then Village Kid. Up on the fence then Luxury Liner. JB's Fella 2nd last, and last of all is Rufus Youngblood. 2nd quarter 32.3 as they go to the back when they've got 500 metres to go in the Inter-Dominion Grand Final. Our Maestro's in front. Bag Limit might have had enough. Palomar 3 wide. On the fence Tiff's Mystery with nowhere to go. 4 and 5 deep as Village Kid. Corral-To-Gift hooking out 4 deep as well. Robert John going backwards on the inside. Luxury Liner. Behind those Rufus Youngblood, and last of all JB's Fella. They've got 300 metres to go in the Inter-Dominion Grand Final. Our Maestro on top. On the outside Palomar's the danger. Here's Corral-To-Gift starting to hook 3 and 4 deep, and down the outside will come Village Kid, and JB's Fella's also stormed into the clear. They've got 150 to go. Palomar and Our Maestro. Our Maestro's finding plenty. Our Maestro and Johnny Binskin. Our Maestro's won it. Our Maestro beat Palomar. The next one, Tiff's Mystery, followed by Corral-To-Gift, Luxury Liner, JB's Fella. Behind those, Village Kid, Robert John, Bag Limit 2nd last, and last of all, Rufus Youngblood. But Johnny Binskin, the oldest driver in the race, is here to celebrate his father's 81st birthday with his first ever Inter-Dominion Grand Final. Congratulated there by his son, Darren, and what a mighty performance. Our Maestro, trained by Bob Knight in Kilmore in Victoria, driven by John Binskin, has led from go to woe and has won the Foster's Bicentennial Inter-Dominion Grand Final. What a great performance, and well done J.E. Binskin. As we said in the lead-up, He's achieved just about everything that harness racing has to offer, but he's never achieved this sort of thrill. Around the turn into the straight, and you'll notice back in the field, JB's fella really had to push his way out to get a clear run, and just for a moment looked as if it was going to storm home. But there, in those red sleeves, John Binskin on Our Maestro, and on the outside, Michael Ilsley with Palomar settling down to fight it out with Tiss Mystery punching up on the fence and Corral-to-Gift moving into 4th position. But as they come down towards the line, Our Maestro found plenty. Just as Palomar looked as if he was going to race past him, he found another gear, and it's Our Maestro's Inter-Dominion Championship and J.E. Binskin's. 2, 4 and 1. So number 2, Our Maestro, the winner, trained by Bob Knight at Kilmore in Victoria. The Knight stable finally wins an Inter-Dominion Championship, but alas for them, the horse wasn't driven by Vin Knight, so he'll have to wait for another year. And there's Vin coming back with the successful driver, Johnny J.E. Binskin. And gee, I think there'll be a lot of tears being shed at the moment around this course, because he's been a very popular driver over many years, and I'm certain that Father Jack will also be shedding just a little tear for his son, who's finally cracked it for an Inter-Dominion Championship. Here he comes, and listen to the roar that this crowd will give Our Maestro and J.E. Binskin. Well, the crowd's very happy. He was the best backed horse at the beginning of the Inter-Dominion Championship. So there's Johnny Binskin going down the main straight. So let's go down to the winners' enclosure, where I think there is a very happy group of owners, and Peter Longman's there as well.
One of the connections of the winner there, Our Maestro, Rob Asprey from Channel 9 in Melbourne. Congratulations, Rob. Sensational performance.
It was sensational, Peter. It was really unbelievable. It's the biggest thrill that I've ever had in my life, and I'm speaking on behalf of the syndicate. It says a great thing for syndication of racehorses. I could never have afforded to have a horse like that, but because of syndication, it's allowed me and the rest of the syndicate and my dear old mum up there to have the biggest thrill of our life.
He's shaking now. He's shaking during the race.
Truthfully, I didn't think we could win. You know, you always have your doubts. I want to say really sincere congratulations to John Binskin. Just fantastic. And tonight with his, I think his grandfather's here, 80 years of age. Congratulations to John, Bobby Knight, and also Vin Knight, who've trained the horse.
Thanks, Rob. Let you go and congratulate the horse.
Thanks a lot.
Well, a huge crowd of owners back there to greet the horse back. But really, I think tomorrow's press will be carrying great stories about the Binskin dynasty. Jack, who's here tonight celebrating his 81st birthday, one of the pioneers of the game, and his son, John Binskin, driving the winner, and of course the grandson, John's son, actually finishing 4th. So it was the Binskins' night here. The Knights, though, have finally won one, and there's Johnny Binskin, and Peter Longman's about to speak with the victorious driver.
John, congratulations, magnificent effort. Must have been made even sweeter with your father here watching the race.
It's a great honour to win a race like this, and all the family here. It is terrific. I'm a little emotional. It's a thing that you never believe of. 10 days ago I wasn't going to be the driver of the horse, and then after that I finished up the driver of the horse, and he's done the job for us.
Magnificent performance right from the start. He must have felt very confident with a lap to go.
Yeah, he was travelling good and right on the line. He was getting there, but the other horse was coming at him, but he just kept coming and coming and coming.
Thanks, John. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
1988 Foster's Bicentennial Inter-Dominion Pacing Championship, going to number 2, Our Maestro, trained by Bob Knight and driven by John Binskin. Second, number 4, Palomar, trained by Colin Joss and driven by Michael Ilsley. And third, number 1, Tiff's Mystery, trained and driven by David Aitken here in New South Wales. So certainly a lot of I think champagne corks will be popping out Bankstown way tonight. That's all we've got for you for the time being from here at Harold Park. On behalf of everyone, I hope you've backed the winner, and I hope you've enjoyed the 1988 Foster's Bicentennial Inter-Dominion Championship.